Sometimes you gotta be bold. Just rock the world. Booyah!
This week we're going to talk about Bonnie and Clyde Part 2 by Wolfkid on AFF. The link will be in the description box down below and floating somewhere on the screen, like around here.
I see this way. It looks like purple line. Gotta introduce myself. Introduction! This week's story includes the tags Angst, Big Bang, G-Dragon, Kwon Ji-young, Romance, Smut, and T.O.P. The characters include an OC, Kwon Ji-young, and Big Bang. The description is a really good description. It's one of those descriptions that makes me have higher expectations of this fanfic than I normally would have for a fanfic, both in language, grammar, plot, and so on and so forth. The description states that the OC and Ji-young as the main characters, the OC as a small town girl, so this could be a very cliche story, though it also states it's a tragedy, so it might not be that cliche, though a little cliche is always good. I don't mind that at all. Kwon Ji-young is described as young, foolish, and headstrong, which in LadyTickleBack's opinion is probably something along the lines of haha and funny, though not too much. In my opinion, this is a tragedy, as it clearly states, and I've said before, so it won't be that funny and entertaining in the haha sort of way.
The plot.
The story starts out with Maya. Fudge it. The female lead, she starts out with going to town, and she goes into a bank. The Big Bang comes around, being a gang and all, and kidnaps her as she pressed the panic button.
Yeah, so the female lead was kidnapped by G-Dragon, Ji-young, and his gang. And there's a lot of sexual tension for a long time where Ji-young and the female lead continues to fight a lot, kind of denying their sexual tension.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And it gets to a point where you actually wish that you were alone whenever you read this story. Actually. Like, completely alone, with no one at home. Preferably in the bathroom or in your bed. Or wherever you like to do it. And when you've kind of learned how to deal with that part, then you cry a lot too. The plot of this story is really good, really well thought out, and it has a very nice development, a very nice pace. Though you kind of get impatient with what happens between the main characters, you kind of think, have sex already. And throughout the entire story, there's like some small and some bigger plot twists that are very surprising, but obviously very well considered the further you get into the story.
The story is also very, very captivating. You simply just want to read more. And luckily, it's completed now, so you can simply just binge read everything. As said before, it's a tragedy, so there is no happy ending as such. And I really like that. It's also extremely well written and thought out for a fanfic. Like, if this was a book, I would read it. It's worthy of a book.
Each personality in this story is very well thought out and with an obvious purpose for the plot. They're very realistic but different from the usual characters that you find in fanfics or stories for young people in general.
I really, really like them. They're very nicely built up, as said, and despite their flaws, as they're well thought out, they just give you this likability.
There's a very nice character development that we see throughout the entire story. Some flaws are repaired in a way, and others are emphasized and actually made worse.
There's no rush, not really, on the bonding and the relationships between the characters. Though I will say that there might be a too quick non-physical attraction between the two main characters. It's possible, but not likely. Last name, last orders, the last post. LadyTickleBack, I now declare you a knight of grammar. There are some typos here and there, not a lot, but they are there. There are some sentences where you think, what? And it requires you to reread them to understand what's going on. There are a few grammatical errors in general, but they mostly happen in the late chapters, and she has made aware that they are unedited. The sentence structure is very good and it's very easy to read. It really captivates you in that way because the grammar is good. Språket.
Quote.
Die Sprache.
The language. The language in this story is very nice. It's very fluent to read. It's easy to read. She's aware of how to build a mood with her sentence structure and different words to describe different scenes and feelings. She's very good at describing sceneries and the physical environment, as well as she's very good at describing internal conflicts in different thoughts, pros and cons of different situations. Her vocabulary is very good. It's not too hard, not too easy. She's very good to use synonyms to underline different feelings she wants to underline. There was a few minor mistakes, like she writes in a chapter that something fell on the floor when they're outside where floor should be ground, but it's small mistakes like that which doesn't really ruin the flow, but it's just kind of annoying to read, actually. There are different changes in point of view. It starts with a third person point of view as a flashback, and then it changes to first point of view, and then it's the original character's point of view throughout most of the story, and at the end it changes between hers and Ji-young's, which kind of ruins the flow because we don't really know much of Ji-young as a character. So we can't really relate to him in the same way as we can with the female lead, and thus it takes a little longer to catch up with how he thinks and why he does what he does, which we have to relate to when we read it from his point of view, and then it changes back. It is a personal preference that we would like that it was a constant change between point of views, if it had to be, or there would only be one change at the very end, where it would be the female lead's point of view throughout the entire story, and then maybe the last chapter would be from Ji-young's point of view. So it wouldn't switch back and forth a few times.
Schwellometer. So the overall rating on our Schwellometer is a 5! So that's it for this review. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you would like to see more of these reviews. If you have any suggestions of what fanfic we should look at next, then please comment down below on what you'd like to see us review. That's it for this time.